We are so thrilled to welcome all of you. Thanks so much for joining today. My name is Katie Williams. For those of you that I don't know, I'm the co-founder and COO here at Tern. And as I mentioned to kick us off, we truly couldn't be more grateful to have each of you with us today, investing in your learning of the Tern system. We value immensely every single person inside of the Tern community and hope you find today's content engaging, valuable, and deeply interactive as we've intended it to be. Regardless of whatever your skill level is in Tern, there's something for you to take away from all of these sessions over the course of the next 3 weeks. I purposefully don't get a headshot on this slide because Karina and Ben are truly the masterminds behind delivering the curriculum you're going to get to experience over the course of the next 3 weeks. Karina joined us as training and enablement lead just a short time ago to fundamentally uplevel the way in which we educate this entire audience on all things Tern. Her development of this bootcamp curriculum is truly her inaugural debut, and I think you'll come to find here in just a couple of minutes as we kick off that she is coming in with a serious bang, and we are so delighted for everything that she's about to deliver to you. And Ben, if you've engaged with our support team, which most of you have, Ben is a deeply beloved member of the support team and supports our community daily by answering user questions and running one-on-one user training sessions. Ben is going to be our lead facilitator over the entirety of the bootcamp series. So without further ado, enough from me, and I'm going to turn it over to Ben. Welcome, Ben.
Hi, everyone. Thank you, Katie. As Katie mentioned, I'm Ben. I'm from the Tern support team, and I'm going to be your trainer for this workshop series. You have seen my name probably pop up in chat or your inbox or maybe at an in-person event, but I just wanted to say that I'm really excited to be here live with you to add another layer of support to this awesome advisor community. So while I'll be handling like the demo aspects of the workshop, I want to, again, turn it over to our head of training and enablement, the brains behind the bootcamp. This is Karina, and she'll be leading you through the hands-on pieces of the workshop just to make sure that we are staying on track. So Karina, over to you.
All right, well, thank you for the introductions. I feel like I don't even know how to follow up with that. You guys have staged me so beautifully. I appreciate it. But hello, everybody. I am Karina. I am very excited to be here. As Katie mentioned, this is my first real launch into bringing something meaningful to the Tern community users. And I really do hope that over the course of the next 3 weeks and these 8 boot camps, that you feel so much better equipped to advance your business through what Tern has to offer you. So with that, I would love to get started in the content. So let me advance here. Oh, see, before I go any further, there are actually a few introductions that we need to make off camera. Behind scenes, we have 3 experts in the product right now that are here to support you as your questions roll in. We have Tern community experts Jennifer Davis and Aaron Erdis. And we also have Tern's very own Jade Path behind the scenes right now. So as you are asking questions throughout the entirety of this workshop, they will be back there feverishly supporting you. So big waves and thank yous to all of them for being here to support this workshop. Okay, you probably already have been into the training guide, but I wanted to point it out in the event that you have just been so busy you haven't had time to go through the welcome emails. This entire series is going to be driven by the training guide to support you as you go from workshop to workshop. If you have not been in it yet, there are a few ways in which you can access it. One is through the chat. It is the very first thing in the chat, which is going to be a big scroll for you. So you may not want to go that route. It is also in your welcome email. I sent it off first thing this morning to make sure it was handy. So it should be at the top of your inbox. Another route to get to that link is in the, what do they call it? There's resources. Off in your right taskbar in Zoom, there should be, you may have to hover over it or open an overflow menu, but there should be a resources tab in there. And I put the link to the training guide there as well. So if you can find a way to navigate to it, you don't have to right now, you'll want to have access to that later on. I'm going to pop over into that training guide now and unpack it just a little bit before we get started because I want you to know what to expect over the upcoming weeks. We have a series of 8 workshops coming your way. The first 6 are getting stood up in Tern, right? The foundation of how to do your job inside of Tern. The last 2 are advanced workshops that are really going to help elevate your work in Tern and make it much more efficient so that you can save more time. If you get to the end of the first 6 workshops and you're like, I've got enough, I really want to master this before I enter into those, automations and workflows and whatnot, that's absolutely okay. You will be receiving recordings. You'll have access to every workshop recording, and that will serve 2 purposes. One, if your schedule prevents you from attending one of the workshops, it's a-okay. I'm hoping by the end of the day of the workshop to have the recordings loaded so that you can access them. There are links to those inside of your welcome email and also inside of the training guide itself, so you will not have to hunt for that. Then those last 2 workshops, if you're ready for them, great. Come join us for those workshops and let's roll through it live. If not, whenever you feel like you're ready to tackle that, those recordings will be sitting there for you, as will the training guide. I will not be turning the training guide off, so you can circle back to it when you are ready. Okay, I'm not going to go through all of the objectives. I'll let you read those on your own. I just want to point out like one critical objective that I utilize to keep myself really centered on this learning experience. And that is that it is going to get you started. We are not going to throw everything at you that Tern has to offer because that is too overwhelming. And then I don't want you to have to like fight to figure out, but how do I get started? This whole workshop series is literally that. How do I get started and do my job in Tern? Once you learn how to do that and you can function day in, day out inside of Tern, then you'll start to learn more and really gather those extras that we have to offer. Okay, so what can you expect? These workshops are going to look a little bit differently. First and foremost, they're workshops, not demonstrations. So for every workshop that you come to, there are going to be 3 primary topics. And for each topic, we'll start out by framing it, like why? Why are we talking about this? What is it? How does it work? And then we will do a demonstration. But if you're anything like me, when somebody demonstrates something to me, I've got the app open in a different tab. I'm trying to follow along with them, and I wind up inevitably missing critical moments of the demonstration, and I miss things that I would have liked to learn. So we've built this so that you do not have to do that. After every single demonstration, we will stop and you will be given time to get hands-on experience. Also, during the demo, you don't have to worry about writing down everything we demonstrate so that you can then go practice it yourself. You're going to also have a checklist. So you can literally just sit back and absorb during the demonstration. And then during hands-on practice time, you'll have a checklist so you know what to try on your own. And you'll have that opportunity to really start truly retaining what you just saw through hands-on experience. How to get help during the workshops. You're gonna have questions. You're gonna have so many questions, but with so many people in attendance, it will be hard to keep up with all those questions if they all flow into chat. So we've had 2 practices in place. One, if you have a product question, instead of dropping it in the chat, if you could open your Q&A panel, that's where we're gonna log the questions so that our product experts have a nice, clean flow so that they don't miss your questions. But we are going to ask. Before putting a question into the Q&A panel, we would love for you to first try asking Finn. And who's Finn, you might wonder? You may have already engaged with Finn. In the lower right-hand corner of all of the Tern screens, you can access our AI chatbot. And more than just the chatbot, you can access our help center, to read articles. You can get in touch with our support team through this. But we're going to ask as you're going through the workshop, when you first have a question, I would love for you to go start a chat and ask that question. You're going to discover that Finn is so intelligent and so capable, and the on-demand level of support that Finn provides is unparalleled. Our team has done a phenomenal job of training Finn to be an expert on the Tern platform and also an expert at training and education and helping. All right, so he is multifaceted in his profession. So if you would please, when you have a question, start with Finn. You're going to find he answers 80 to 100% of your questions. And I know some of you may be feeling like hate chatbots, like detest them. And here's the deal. So do I on frequent occasion. I actually, I came on to Tern, I intended to watch all the coursework, read all the articles, and stand myself up, but I really wanted to test Finn out. And so I started kind of just getting into the application and testing him myself. And I wound up developing this like love for him because he has stood me up in Tern. He's brilliant. He can give you contextual understanding. He can give you step-by-step guides. He can help you build your own content, forms and emails and whatnot inside of Tern. So please start with Finn. If a little conversation with him does not get you what you need, please open that Q&A panel and drop the question for our product experts to be fielding as we go through the workshop. All right, so I'm just going to take one brief moment to unpack what a workshop card looks like in the training guide, and then I'm going to hand it over to Ben so we can get started. Every workshop is going to look similar. You will find what the topics are going to be so that before the workshop, when you're coming into it, you can kind of preview what we're going to be talking about, a few helpful notes, and then you're going to see the 3 topics. And for every one of the 3 topics, you will see that contextual understanding, what it is we're going to demonstrate, and then a try it yourself checklist. If you toggle this open, you'll be able to access your step-by-step checklist for your hands-on experience portion of the workshop. Following that, you can access our feedback. I would love, love, love to hear everything you have to say. The, hey, this was great, don't get rid of it. And also those constructive criticisms that are going to help me really make the next workshop better and the next bootcamp series better. So your feedback is very valued. Underneath of all of it, at the very end of a workshop card, you're going to see a link to the live recordings. All right, and with that, I believe my talk time needs to come to a wrap because we need to get started on the content itself. So I'm going to hand everything on over to Ben.
All right. Thank you, Karina. Let's get started. So I just wanted to start off by saying, like, you're not just learning the Tern platform today. Like, you're leveling up your workflow, your brand, your client experience, your whole game. You're leveling it up. So I'm just really happy you're here. It's a testament of your commitment to your business and your customers. So as we look at our Tern dashboard, and that's what this is right here, think of this as your command center for your modern travel planning. It saves you time. It's going to remove your guesswork. It's going to eliminate repetitive work, and it's going to help you look like a pro from day one. So as Karina mentioned, our goals for today are really just to get oriented with Tern. We're going to set up your personal and business settings. We're going to build 2 trips today, just really bare bones trips for proposals, and we're going to learn how Tern really helps you save time, impress your clients, and make you more money. And that's the real goal here, right? So as a reminder, you do have Finn down here in that bottom corner. Ask them anything. Really, the guys on the support team and Ellen have built Finn out, and it's really impressive. So I say put them to the test. See what you can handle there. So where we get started. So we're going to start with this trip dashboard, and I really want you to think of this as kind of your command center. This is where every trip lives. This is how you customize how trips are grouped, from planning to inbound to booked, traveling to in progress. It really adapts to how you want your workflow to work. And the best thing about this whole platform, oops, I'm going into a trip. Let me go back. Before we jump there, I want you to see that everything here is meant for flow. It's all drop and drag. Everything can be altered for your workflow to make it easy for you and how you want to plan. Tern has a happy path of doing things, but we want to make sure that we accommodate all workflows and all users. So this is your trip dashboard. This can all be altered. You can even change the display if you'd rather have it be a list view here. But let's go top top left to bottom right and just work through the whole navigation site. This here is your navigation bar. It's going to remain with you throughout your entire time in Tern. This Tern bird will always lead you back to your dashboard. So if you're ever in trouble or need to get back to be like, hey, I'm lost, I need to go home, follow the bird. We also have your trips on your dashboard, and this is for all your in-progress bookings. We have our tasks to kind of show you what's up, what's next. We have our library for your content and templates and your contacts. This is your CRM. We can do commission and reporting. And then again, I want to point out this help center where you can contact support, look through our help center for thousands of articles, join Tern and Learn, watch live videos, join events, and then you can also submit feedback. Tern is really developing on what advisors want, and so submitting feedback and upvoting other advisors' candy cards is the way to get things done in Tern. So moving on, we have our display, as I mentioned, and you can either have this be list view. You can also filter out which trips you want to be working on your dashboard. So if you really just want to be heads down on your inbound trips, you can filter all these other ones out and it will just show you those. We have this is where you can start a new trip. You can search for any trip that's in progress. And then we also have a new feature here, which is our calendar, which is a visual view of everything going on in Tern. It's pretty amazing. Check that out. And without further ado, I think we should get started into putting in our settings. That's where you're really going to start. So with your settings, you're going to see this icon on the far right. And this is, if you haven't put your picture in just yet, it's going to be grayed out. So we're going to click into this, and you can click into your settings here. So for your settings, like this isn't just preferences here. This is the foundations of your business in Tern. This is whatever you put in here kind of flows into every proposal, every email, every form, invoice, and itinerary. It's how you show up for your clients all the time with consistency and with a professional kind of touch. So this is really where you put your brand on autopilot, and once it's set, like everything works in the background for you. So diving in, we have that. We're going to start with our account settings. So this is where you can add your name, your email, your title, phone number, add a nice picture. Tern's always going to crop that to a circle, so make sure that when you upload your photo, you're really happy with how it looks. Okay, moving on, we're going to go through our notifications. This is really important. Having standard notifications is always turned on. So this is important for updates like form submissions, itinerary feedback, credit card authorizations, and then you can also turn this on for flight updates. So clicking on email notifications allows you to understand what's going on every single one of your trips. Moving on to security, Tern has your back with security. Okay, so here's where you can change your password. You can set up two-factor verification. This is really important if you plan on using any kind of credit card authorization, selling traveler insurance, or collecting service fees. So you can set up your verification here, and you can use either text message or an authenticator app, which is what we highly recommend. And I'm not going to set mine up just yet because I want you to kind of see what happens a little bit further down the road.
Hey, Ben, just jumping in real quick. There's a couple requests to zoom in a bit. Can we just
Yeah, let's absolutely.
Thank you.
How's this? Better?
I think that will be overall better. Thank you.
Yeah. Let me know if it's too small. Thanks for the heads up, everybody. So I'll just go back to that security aspect. This is where you can kind of set up your two-factor authorization. You can manage your subscriptions here, and that's really all you have to do for your personal settings. Just make sure this is all on brand at the beginning because this will be client-facing. So diving into our business settings here, this is where things get a little bit interesting. And you have a little bit more customization. Notice here you can add your business name, your website. If you have any social media, this is a great place to put it. Your physical address and your business logo, along with a branded cover photo and some button labeling here. It's really important to put these things in exactly how you want them because this will all be client facing. Once we put in our waivers and agreements, this is going to turn into kind of a Tern business card, which is going to show up in a lot of places. And I want us to get to that point, but I'm just going to bounce through these pretty quickly and give you time to dig into these on your own in a little bit. Going further down, I also wanted to point out that this is still in beta, but we have invoicing, so you can add personal messages to all of your invoicing here, and we have some affiliations. This is more for our data collection to make sure that we're building bigger and better as we go forward and make sure that we can have all the information we need to keep you going. And you can set your default commission splits and things down here as well. One thing I'd really like to point out here on this page is the save button. Kind of sounds a little bit bizarre, but most of things that you do in Tern are going to autosave. But a couple of things in your setting, we really want to make sure that you are set and locked in. So the save button is here. So any adjustments you make on your business setting or personal settings, make sure to click that save button. Right. Moving on to waivers and agreements. Right. So Tern totally has your back in making it easy to share and get acknowledgement for your terms and conditions, so you're protected and aligned with every single client. You can add your terms and conditions and waivers and agreements at multiple levels on forms. It happens with every credit card authorization. Here, I've just copied in actually Tern's terms and conditions. Everything can be copy and paste. You drop it in here. Make sure you go all the way to the bottom. Make sure everything looks exactly how you want it to be. Looks good. All right. I'm going to go back up. Sorry for the long scroll here. But this is where the magic really happens. Now that we put in our personal settings and our business settings, we can preview this and you're going to see, boom, your Tern business card. This creates the digital business card that is going to show up on your itineraries, your proposals, your invoices. You can add it to client emails. You want to make sure that this is accurate and on brand, because this is kind of your first digital impression that you get to show to your client, and it's going to show everywhere. So make sure it's showing up the way you want to, and if it's not, just easy to go back and quickly edit it. A couple other things we need to point out before I hand it off to you. We're going to go into our trip settings. And notice the correlation between the bars here. This is all from our dashboard. These are easy to edit. You can change the name and edit directly. Change it from planning to well, we already have an inbound, but you can change it. You can add new statuses. It will drop another one in here. And then just like on the dashboard, you can drop and drag these if you wanted to move them around to a better workflow that suits for you. Make sure to click save, and that will be, oh, I'm going to trash that one because I don't need a new one yet. But make sure to click save here, and then all of those will be ready to go. Done. All right. So one thing I want to point out here too is in our payment authorizations down at the bottom. Anytime you see a purple banner in Tern, it's kind of like a gentle reminder, a gentle kind of suggestion that there might be a little bit more to do here. So if you want to be collecting payment authorizations in Tern, you're going to want to click this button, but until we do that, this purple banner is saying, hey, to do that, you need to go back to your two-factor and make sure that that's enabled. So you can click into that, it'll bring you back exactly where you need to go, and then you can enter your two-factor authorization and jump back in there to your trip settings and turn that on. We will need to do this for the for our workshop series because we will be collecting mock credit card authorizations and things, and we just want to show you how everything works. There's also places to collect service fees if you do that. You can sync your email and your scheduler if that's something you're into here. We highly suggest you connect your email. So if you want emails coming from your personal branded email, you can connect that here. Otherwise, they're going to come from a do not reply at tern.travel. It just kind of keeps things consistent and flowing, and make sure that they stay out of other people's spam or blocked inboxes. We can add tags or higher levels of organizations. Everybody loves a referral, and we love handing them out too. So if you refer another advisor, you get $20, and that other advisor gets $20 as well. So you can get a personalized code here for that. If you are running an agency, this is where you can manage your team and have your agency details, your commission settings, different integrations. And before I hand it back, the last thing I want to show you is the community details. Now, communities are a great thing, and I know throughout the advisor community, you have one of the strongest communities I've ever seen. You all build each other up, you share, you The Facebook group is such a great way to kind of connect and see what other advisors are doing. So you can build your own communities within Tern. So you can create multiple communities, and once your community is created, you'll see that there's members tabs where you can invite others to join. So I want you to remind you that establishing your settings in Tern really helps standardize your branding, automate your client experience, and centralize all of your communication. Okay, that was a lot to start with. I know, and I do kind of talk fast, but it's now your turn to jump in and explore your own settings. You'll use this time to get hands-on, get everything set up, and I can guarantee you doing this now is going to save you hours and hours down the road. I'll hand things back over to Karina now, who will guide you through the next steps and make sure everything you need, that you have everything you need to get you going. Karina?
All right, so now it is time for you to get into the training guide yourself. And I'm going to show you where to go to access your hands-on checklist. We understand that the most meaningful learning takes place when you actually dig in yourself. So whereas Ben took the time to kind of highlight what you can find in settings and some of those like key concepts, he didn't tell you everything there was to know. So it's time for you to explore the settings panel and start maybe working on some of your own content. So if you find your way to workshop 1 and scroll down to topic 1, this personal and business setting checklist is what you're going to use now to help guide you through that exploration and get you onto some of those key tabs to start really seeing what's available and maybe start filling out some of your information. I would like to point out that it is not necessary during this time for you to do every single thing that's in this checklist. It'll be okay if you don't, because you can just circle back to it sometime before workshop 2 to finish whatever checklists you don't wrap up during the time that we have allotted during each workshop. So I'm going to get a timer rolling on the main webinar screen that'll help you kind of see how much time you have left. And when the time is up on that, we will all come back together to move on to topic 2. All right, so I'm going to mute myself so that you can focus, and I'll get a timer going in the meantime. All right. I saw some questions coming through on the chat about how to access, like some of you are having trouble finding your checklist. I dropped another link to the training guide in the chat. You can also find it in the email you received this morning, and it's also in your resources tab. There should be, like, on the right of your Zoom screen, there should be a toolbar, and in that toolbar you should find resources. So there's a few different ways for you to access it. It's in the chat, it's in the Zoom resources, and it's in your email from this morning. So hopefully that will help those of you that were having a hard time finding it. And then you'll find for every single topic, you'll see a try it yourself checklist that you can drop open. I hope that helps those of you that are struggling to locate that checklist on this first topic. Hopefully we can get it all squared away before we get to the second topic. We'll keep monitoring as we go. But I would like to hand it back over to Ben now to get you started on starting to build an actual trip and turn.
All right. Hi, everybody. I'm going to take over the screen share here, and we will dive into our first trip. All right. So a couple of things too that Karina addressed here. I wanted to point out one more time that Finn is down here in the corner. Our chat is going off, which is great, but a lot of the questions that I've seen in there, Finn can answer. So you can message directly here. You can ask a question. So make sure to use Finn as much as possible. And Oh, I did have a request to zoom in just a bit more, so I'm going to do that for you as well. And then also as a reminder, everything that I'm doing on screen right now, you will get time to do on your own. So focus in, and we're going to get started with building our first trip. So now that your foundation is set, it's time to put Tern to work. So we're going to talk about two different trips today, an FIT, and then groups and land and and a cruise. So these are all custom dynamic trips that you can build and really gets you to shine as your advisor. So we're going to be laying out the groundwork for the trip, what we tend to call a trip shell, and then we'll begin to layer on real world elements like lodging and transports and flights and activities. So today we're going to start with the new trip. We're going to add travelers. We're going to set up trip dates. I'm going to show you how to drag and drop components and build your shell. So here we are at our dashboard, our command center, and we want to start a new trip. So let's do it. Now, I'm not going to deep dive on all of these things, but we are going to start a new trip. In your training guide, you did get a trip request for a notebook experience. So we're going to start building our trip right now. This is going to be a regular trip. This is where you can either have a regular or a group trip, but ours regular. And we don't have a lot going on right now. We don't know too much about it, so I want to add dates later. Notice that our status, we can have this be inbound planning. This is matching to exactly what
Hey,
we have on our
Ben.
trip dashboard. Yeah,
So sorry, just jumping in real quick because you and Karina are both screen sharing, and so folks might not know to toggle to Ben's screen. Yeah, there we go. So I think Karina, if you just turn yours off, then it will default. Yeah. So okay, exactly.
thank,
So there are two,
thank you,
but we will
Katie.
just make sure that there's just one at a time, so folks don't have to toggle back and forth. And
Yes,
it might be helpful just to that end for you to just do a quick recap of what you've covered so far, because some folks probably missed it, stuck on
yeah,
Karina's screen. Thank you.
no problem. No problem at all. As I said, so like we have our business setting. Now we're gonna start building our first trip. And there's a couple of different kinds of trips that you can build in Tern. We're gonna start with an FIT trip that we have in your training guide. Think of this as kind of a request or a call out from a prospect who wants you to build a trip and see what's going on. So let's start with a new trip here in the top right corner. And a couple of things I want to point out is we can either have this be a regular or a group trip. We'll dive into group trips in a later training and the more advanced trainings, but in your training guide, it is the notebook experience that we are building today. In this status, this matches everything on your dashboard, and you can choose which status this is going to fall in. This is still in planning or inbound. Again, we can add tags. We don't have any set up yet, but it's a great way to keep things organized, especially when you want to start adding other elements like automations and workflows. But we'll get to that at another time. What's great here is we can build shell itineraries without any dates and reuse them if we want to. So for this one, I'm just going to add dates later. And our length of the trip, I think it's 7 days. We can always adjust that. So create trip. All right, so this is going to bring us to our trip dashboard. Similar to our main dashboard, this has all the navigation that we need to build our trip. And again, notice for quick reference, we have our navigation bar up at the top. I want to start over here on the right and just kind of show you your trip settings. This is where we can add travelers. We can use our currency, talk about our visibility, like how we want to show our pricings to our clients. Again, add or search tags. We can turn on PDF downloads for those who like a hard copy of their itineraries. You can change how the dashboard looks to you right here. You can add agency collaboration and talk about your commissioning on the right. Now, on the left-hand side, we have many other elements that we will dive into later, from our overview to our itinerary tasks. We have finances, and then we will dive deep into these documents, emails, forms, notes, automations, and activities as we go throughout the series. But we want to start with adding travelers. You can't have a trip without adding travelers. So I want to show you how to do that. We're going to create a new contact first, and you're going to add yourself. So I'm going to add me into here. My name's Ben. That's me. Now, Tern maps your clients by their first and last name and their email or preferred name as well. So I'm just going to add some of the elements that I know that I want in here, which is my first and last name, and then I'm going to put in an email. And you should use an email that is not associated with your Tern account for this, because this is going to be your traveler account. This is the one that we're going to use to kind of test what your travelers are actually seeing on the trips that you build. So when you're sending these itineraries, you can see exactly what they see and what their flow looks like and how the mobile app works as well. So I'm going to add this traveler. One thing I also want to point out here is our contact type. We can have tour operators, DMC, advisors, different things. This is all about for collaboration and ease and organization, but this is a regular traveler. I'm going to add them. And there we go. A couple of things come up right off the bat. Well, this is the primary contact, because it's the first person that I added. Primary contact and full access travelers will be able to edit the itinerary, make requests, authorize credit card payments, and basically approve the itinerary. While limited access, they can think of that as just kind of a view only. This is often good for kids or people who aren't necessarily, who are just kind of along for the ride. But full access has the same access as primary, but primary, think of that as kind of like your trip leader. Now I know within the trip scenario that you were given, it says you and your teenage child are headed to Charleston to recreate the notebook experience. So we need to add one more contact on here. So here we go. We're going to add another contact, and this is going to be the teenager contact. So for me, I don't have a teenager, but I do have a best friend. Their name's Agador. Their middle name is Spartacus. And we are related, and their job, best friend. Agador is actually my dog. They don't have an email email address just yet, but I do want you to notice that we're adding this traveler to all existing activities, even though we don't have any. So this is great for when you're adding travelers down the road or halfway through. So I'm gonna add that traveler, and I'm not giving them full access. I'm giving them just limited access. Don't want them to have access to my credit card and be booking spa treatments without my consent. So I'm gonna click done here. And first thing I want you to see is that yellow banner has gone away and we have our travelers added here. All right. So now that we have our travelers, we can start building a trip, and you can do that in two ways. You can either draft your itinerary from here or here. I'm going to start right here on our getting started and start building our shell. So we have our title for our trip up here. We can edit the itinerary right in here, add dates, add background photos and everything that we need at this point. We can also add overview statements. I do know the dates on here because I referenced the email that I got from our customers. So we know that these customers are now traveling from 9/17 to 9/21. That calendar is automatically going to populate and gray out the dates behind so you don't make any mistakes here. It's great. This is another place where we want to go down and update or save our itinerary. And I want you to see our trip details stay in the front, and then our dates are automatically added to the top bar here, our trip. Great. So as we start building our itinerary, our trip settings has now been replaced with activity and trip components, library items, and such. This is our AI assist feature, which we'll be using in the future to build different itineraries from PDFs. You can actually just start typing in here and it can build a trip for you. We'll be diving into that a bit later, as with the drafting destination guides and packing lists, but those are more established for after we have our trip established and confirmed. This is our other library items and then trip components. What I really want to highlight is how easy it is to start building your itinerary by dropping and dragging components into your itinerary. Each one of these components has general info, media, documents, and booking and pricing tabs. And for your workflow, some people like to dive right in and fill all this out right away. Personally, I like to get the building blocks in and set, and then start diving into the nuanced details of everything. So I know for this trip, I'm going to start with a flight. I'm also going to start with our transportation, because we need to get from the airport to our hotel. We were given a specific hotel to drop into here, so I'm going to put that in as well. And I'm going to go back to the full itinerary, and we can also start adding activities. These are all fully customizable for you. to kind of edit and add photos and information however you choose. All right, so now that we have these aspects in, we have our flights, our transportation, and our lodging event. We know the hotel that they want to stay in. I think that's important to dive into that. So let's click our new lodging event and we'll add our hotel property. It looks like they're staying at the Harbor View in Charleston. Oh wait, Harbor or Charleston, pardon me. Charleston Harbor Resort. Now Tern has a big database of hotels that are already preloaded into you. Here we go. I'm actually going to use the other one because I know the other one. I want to show you something on the other. Oops. Get my spelling correct here.
Yeah, the hotel they want to stay at is the
Yeah,
Harborside at Charleston. So if
there
you
it
go to
is.
that third one down, you'll have it. There we go.
This one.
Second one now. Bingo.
Okay, excellent. A couple of things happened when you do this. It loads a pre-description that we already have set for you, which is fantastic. You're going to want to go through this. This is completely customizable and editable. And the other thing I really want to point out here is our media tab. So from our media tab, we have preloaded images that have been uploaded from the Harborside website. You can also add new photos from web links here. You can paste personal images from your computer with here, or you can search our Pixabay database for other images. These are more generalized and not specific, but they are really, really helpful when you want to add little icons to the top, or if you're just like for flights and other aspects, Pixabay is a great resource just to source generic information. If you want specific, add from WebLink or paste customized information like images right here. Now we can add documents and booking and pricing, but we're going to dive into that a little bit later as with rooms. What I really wanted to show you, kind of to overview what we just did, is we started a new trip. We added our dates, we added our travelers, we clicked into our itinerary, we dropped and dragged new elements directly into our itinerary, and then we also chose a specific resort, and I wanted to show you there, it actually populated a little picture icon on here. So this will all help bring that proposal to life later, but we're going to explore room options and pricings in future sessions. But today we're just working on that general info. So with that said, that's kind of a lot to play around with. Think of this as kind of your sandbox, your building blocks, and just to see, I want you to play around for a while and add elements into a trip. So I'll be handing it back to Karina to help guide you through the hands-on portion of this, and have fun building, and we will regroup shortly. I'm going to stop sharing now.
All right, and we're back. This time rolling down to topic 2. And instead of turning on the timer this time, I'm actually going to just monitor the timer myself, and I'm going to leave this screen up. That way, if anybody is having trouble finding the checklist, you'll have all the information visible for now so that you can be fully exploiting the workshop, and then we can troubleshoot how to get you into the checklist a little bit later. So what Ben just showed you is literally just kind of setting the foundation for an FIT trip, getting the components drug in, put where you want them, and then the only component he went into to customize was the resort because they by name requested the resort. He just dropped that in there to get some media loaded and get it on the itinerary in a customized way. So here we are now at workshop 1, topic 2. And I am scrolling down and opening the toggle for the checklist. At the very top, you're going to see the trip request details. Oh, I scrolled up way too far. My apologies for that. There are the trip request details. I'm going to see if I can get a little bit more. I don't want to zoom out to get too much more in here. I think yep, that is really close to the end. So in favor of having larger words instead of the entire checklist, I think this should be enough to get you started. I'm going to leave it here, and we'll have about, let's see, Let's do about 7 minutes. I'll get a timer going and then I'll jump right back to this screen here. So I'm going to now go on mute so that you guys can focus on building your first FIT trip. All right, we're going to be circling back here to launch into the third topic here in just a moment. I did notice a few questions about the trip request. I wanted to bring your attention to let you know that when you open your checklist, it'll be at the very top. The trip request details are right here to help you out. Okay, so the next thing that we're going to move on to is using pre-built trips to start a new trip. And for that, we're going to use the cruise library. So I'm going to hand it back over to Ben to let him get you started on creating a trip when using a cruise from our library. All right, Ben, can you come off a mute for us, please?
Oh, thank you.
There
Ready
we
to
go.
rock? All right. All right, everybody. Next up, we're going cruising, literally. So in this session, it's all about talking about working smarter with what Tern already has built for you. So our Tern library, it doesn't just give you flexibility, it gives you efficiency. Cruise templates and trip libraries are how you can scale and service while still delivering personalized experiences. So this is especially valuable when you book hosted groups or have repeat cruise clients or want to jump on or like bring on junior agents with consistency. So just like we've done before, we're going to start building a new trip. So here we are, building a new trip. And we're going to call this the Tern User Conference. And just as before, we're keeping it in planning. We're keeping the travel dates. I want to keep showing you how customizable this is. So we're just going to create a trip from here. Oops, I'm adding my dates later. Tern will always remind you if you haven't added something, so keep an eye out for those little alerts. Usually they're in red or purple. We're creating our trip here. So I'm going to really walk you through just how to create a new cruise trip using one of our library templates. So we want to add ourselves as a traveler once again. So you can search, now that you're already in there, you can search to see if you're in there. Oops. It's not pulling mine up yet, so I'm just going to create a new one once again. There we go. We're going to add. There we go. Done. Added a traveler. All right. Just as before, we're going to create an itinerary and we're going to dive into our cruise library. This is the first one of our library items that we're going to explore. So I'm going to drop and drag this directly into my to the first day of my itinerary. So the way Tern's cruise library works is you can search by either ship, supplier, or cruise name. You can provide your minimum dates. You can filter throughout many different aspects. Here is like your ship size, adults only, ship style, but we know that we're doing the Big Apple to Bermuda. So I can even just put in Big Apple and see what comes up. And there it is, the Big Apple to Bermuda on the Brilliant Lady Virgin Voyages. And I'm just going to add this directly to my itinerary. It's going to immediately populate the dates for this cruise, which is perfect, which is why I didn't add them before. I didn't necessarily know. Maybe my traveler doesn't know their dates, and this gives them options. So you can click to add it here, update, and it's going to add your itinerary items right in here. Your sailing days, information on which ports you're going to and when you'll be coming home. So that's fantastic. I want to show you as well how we can add different kind of cabin options and different things in the future. But as we preview this, you can kind of see what your customer sees here. Taking a minute to load. All of this cruise information is updated weekly, so you don't have to be searching through all your kind of supplier information. It adds videos, updates automatically. We have our ship, our sail dates, the wharfs we're going to. It adds everything for you. It's always good with any of these things to Q&A all of the information, make sure it looks exactly how you want it to, and all of those elements are editable too. So back to the main point. It's super easy just to click and add to your itinerary, and basically it's just drop and drag, just as every other trip is. So going back to our main trip here, I want you to see that these are also showing up on our main dashboard. You can click into them, jump into our itinerary, and it's really just that easy. So Tern's library tools are all about scale. You don't have to start from scratch every time. You can reuse, repurpose, refine, and that's how you save time and really grow with confidence here. So one last call out that I want to say is that the Big Apple to Bermuda is also part of the Tern user conference this year, and one of you who are joining the workshop will be joining us at the user conference. As long as you attend all 6 sessions, you're in the drawing for that. So I'll hand it back to Karina here to get you started on your hands-on activity.
Okay, so here we go. We are on to the last topic's hands-on experience now, so that you can test everything you were just shown for yourself. So you're going to find that checklist in topic 3. And again, I'm going to go ahead and leave it on the screen today instead of the countdown. And then I'll just give you a 1-minute warning on the countdown. That way, the individuals that are having a hard time locating the training guide have access to it for today, and don't have to feel left out or scrambling. So here is the checklist for the cruise. A couple of notable mentions. It has right here, you can copy and paste the cruise that you want to search for. And when that cruise pops up, it should also say that it's the Brilliant Lady. That's the one you're going to want to grab. We're hoping to keep a similar experience for all learners as we go through, so that we can really do a great job of demonstrating and growing these trips that you're building together. So please utilize that checklist and the details that are in there to build your cruise. This is going to be a good opportunity for exploration. There's not as many tasks that you need to do in this final topic, and that was intentional to hopefully give you a little bit of extra time to dig in and kind of go through. Once you go through this cruise information, if you feel pretty solid, then just explore the library and see what else is available to you here so that you can gain some familiarity. All right, so I'm going to start a timer behind the scenes so that I can leave this checklist right here for everybody to view. And then I will come back onto audio to let you know when we're about 1 minute from wrapping. All right, so I'm going to mute now and let you go explore. All right. So hopefully you had a lot of opportunities to get into the application and really test out everything that you saw demonstrated for you today. Hopefully that time gave you the opportunity to ask Finn and then our Q&A panel some really meaningful questions to really elevate your understanding of what we covered today. I am going to pop into this training guide one more time. And point out that below every workshop, you're going to see a feedback form. I would love to hear what went well that you want to make sure keeps getting built into the workshops. And then if you have any constructive feedback for us to make them even better as we circle back for workshops 2, 3, and on through workshop 8. Additionally, lots of questions about the recordings. You can access the recordings I will work on getting it, once I get it from Zoom, I will work on getting it ready and uploaded so that you can access it. So please feel free to check back throughout the day. My hope is before I wrap my day, I have it loaded for you. So if you click right here, you will be taken to Tern and Learn. If you've never been to Tern and Learn before, in the upper right hand corner, you're going to see a join button so that you can join the Tern and Learn community. And then after you join, on the left hand side, underneath all of the coursework are your live recordings. You may be taken straight to this spot right here if you're already a member of Tern and Learn, because this tab is what I've put in all of the link locations for the recordings. But for those of you that have never been in, you'll want to join the Tern and Learn community. And then you may, after joining, see in the upper right hand, there may be enroll. They may ask you to then enroll to unlock all of the content for any given course. So when you get to the live training recordings, if you still see a lock, please just go ahead and hit the enroll button in order to access them. All right, so we have a few open questions still sitting in the Q&A. So I'm going to leave this session open all the way until we hit the 11 a.m. marker so that any question that currently exists in the Q&A panel can get an answer from one of our product experts. Please remember that you can use Finn in between now and the next workshop as you're continuing to work through your checklist to get answers. And while you're with him, if you are not grasping, if what he's giving you is not helping you, please ask him to get you in touch with the support team. And then he will let them know to reach out to you, to engage with you, to get you the information that you need. There have been a few questions about how Finn works. So I do want to take a moment because I know some of you came in late and did not see this demonstration earlier. So I'm going to revisit it again. If you open Finn, you have multiple options available to you. Okay. You can use this to open a chat with Finn. So if I click on this, I can either send a message because I have so many conversations going on with him right now. And he'll say, do you have a question? Right? So you're given some options of ways to engage with him. I always just tap, I have a question. And then he's going to greet me. And I'm then given the option to ask my question. Okay. Also, inside of Finn, inside of your app, you don't have to go somewhere else to access our knowledge base. You can access it through the help right here. So if I click on help, I have categories of articles, or I can simply search for what I'm interested in. Like maybe I want to know my branding image ratio, right? Because I keep putting my branding image in and I don't like the way it's cropping. So I can go ahead and search and find articles that are going to relate to what I'm interested in. But I think a lot of you, what you're looking for is once you get into Finn, how are you asking him his question? And that's going to be right here. You'll just open a chat with him. All right. So we do have
Can I jump in with a couple more questions, Karina?
Absolutely.
Amazing. And just while you're screen sharing, can you show folks how to navigate to Tern and Learn just one more time?
You bet. So there are I'll show you two different ways. Well, there's three different ways. In your welcome email, there's a link that gets you directly to the live recordings. In your training guide, at the bottom of every workshop, there is a button to access the live recordings. And so if I click that, it'll open for me. And the live recordings are right here. That button opens you directly to live recordings, and I just have to join if I'm not already a member. And then the other way you can get there is when you're in your app, you can go to the help taskbar, the help button on your taskbar, and then you can find Tern and Learn right there. So if I click there, it'll take me to the website, and in resources, I can get to Turn and learn. Was there another demonstration or question that we should address in the last minutes?
I think there just continues to be a few questions on like Tern bot / Fin. It's probably just worth reiterating again that those are one and the same. It is just the support bot that responds to questions, and it's a dedicated model that we have trained based on the questions that we get from users. So just one more, she's kind of going through that right now. Just one more quick look at how to submit a ticket. But if you hear us saying Fin, it is that button in the bottom right-hand corner so that you can submit a ticket to our support team. And Fin will answer the question automatically. And if Fin cannot answer the question, then it will reroute to a member of our team. I think those are the big ones, but I'll open caveat by saying we will go through the entire chat. We will go through all of the Q&A. If we happen to miss anything, there was over 1,000 folks on the line, so it is highly likely that we did miss something. We will certainly get to you and make sure that we get all questions answered. And then also to Karina's point, she's got that feedback form linked in the training guide. Please make sure that gets submitted. We will be constantly iterating as we work through the kind of next 3 weeks of this series. So please make sure you submit that. This is all for you. So huge shout out to Karina and Ben, great facilitation, and hopefully everybody found it valuable today. Any final words, Karina?
No, we just really appreciate you being here and hope that this is a great launch into the platform. And to reiterate Katie's point, we'd love your feedback because we did our best to project what your needs would be, but we know that as you bring up more and more points, we'll be able to do a much better job of meeting your needs. So we definitely want to hear them. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to be here with us. We so appreciate all of you, not just for being here, but just being a part of the team community, Tern community in general. So we look forward to seeing you again on Wednesday. If you cannot attend, it's okay. You may have seen throughout the chat or the welcome email or whatnot that those live recordings are there. So please don't worry if you can't make it. You can asynchronously watch the video and utilize the training guide to get caught up before the following workshop when hopefully you'll be able to attend.
Just wanted to pop in and say thank you all very much.
Okay. Well, it looks like we're down to just a very few amount of open questions, and our time looks like it's going to wrap here in 1 minute. So I'm going to go ahead and close everything out so we can start going through the chat and the Q&A. Y'all have a wonderful day. Thanks so much.